Well, here we go with another piece of the Shadow War Armageddon scenery. You can see what I've done with this, and the first big decision I made was actually to commit to some of these bits, you know, permanently being stuck together. I thought, you know what, I want a solid base. I want this to be telling its own little story. So yeah, that's kind of what I've done. So just to sort of talk you through how I've gone about this, you can see that like most of this has been done silver. And I've come in with this beige, which is basically a screaming skull sort of layered on with thin coats as much as possible. I wanted this really run down sort of industrial kind of look to the whole thing, and yeah, a bit of like the Zandri dust on first as a base, and then coming up with that, and then a bit of Seraphim sepia just in to sort of like mark out these spaces in the platings here. And yeah, other than that, you know, it gets to a point where you're spending so long on the thing that you've got to stop yourself, and you're saying, oh, I could fill in these details and that detail, and okay, look, there's a skull there, and I could do the one half of that and the other half like that, like we've done with the Mechanicus symbol around the back here, and I could do it that way. But then you've got to stop yourself. You've got to say, no, it's scenery. Come on now, pull yourself together. It's scenery. I don't want to be spending, you know, as long as this as I do on my army sort of thing. So yeah, there comes a point. So yeah, this pipe here, you know, heavy with the washes, heavy with the brown washes as well as the black washes onto the silver, and then getting in with typhus corrosion all over the thing in different places. A lot of the typhus corrosion helped make like the dripping effect coming out of the vents, and the great thing is that dripping stuff is, you know, it's actually textured, which also sets you up for some of the riser rust effect stuff to just be dry brushed on. So that's kind of how it works. It picks out the layer as just a technical dry paint, and then yeah, some of this like scraping down again is just the typhus sort of corrosion thing. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell here, but like on the hinges of the door, which I've left obviously permanently open, I've seen other people do that too, is to basically leave like an extra little piece of cover for someone coming around here. But yeah, you can see like on the hinges here of the door, I've gone in really heavy with the typhus, and what that effectively does is it, you know, it breaks up what we're seeing on the door, just to try and you know, break the solidness of the colour up, so it's not just one colour all the way. Again, you know, the rivets, trying to get in on the rivets, trying to get the rust going in on them a little bit. I quite like this colour, the way it stands out against the silver. I wanted everything to be quite dirty, basically, and pretty run down and oily looking, pretty horrid looking. Basic imagery there of the Mechanicum symbol, just trying not to be too careful on it, and you know, that's a bit thin there. I could go on with some more Screaming Skull to touch that up, but I haven't highlighted that side of it. Did do a wash in there and highlight a little bit. This blue colour, this sort of the turquoisey blue, heck, I don't even know what one that was I used now, but you can see what it is anyway, right? And what I've done there, I've used a bit of the Runefang steel, sort of the light silver highlight, and I've just got in with a little bit of edge highlighting in around those sharp edge bits, just to make that little decal stand out enough. And then in on the top of the thing, here's where we get some real grime happening. So I wanted it to be patchy. I wanted it to differ in places. So I mean, this little area here really tells a story, because this is where the typhus corrosion is crazy heavy, and you can see the rusting that's gone in on making that too. Also, just like picked out some of that lettering there in like the Soulstone blue stuff. I've done that in a few places in and around. Wanted the corrosion here on these fans, because, you know, if you've ever had a PC, a desktop PC long enough, you know that it will end up looking like that. So that's, you know, again, you can see the Soulstone blue. I've gone in on like that part there and that part over there, just, you know, picking out something just as like a different colour somewhere. There's all these little places that are telling their own little story, and I don't want to get too Bob Ross about this sort of thing, you know. It's just, you've got to approach it with like some element of that a little bit. You're telling your own story, I suppose. But you know, there we go, one piece of scenery done in Shadow War. Oh, again, you see that little pipe down there. I don't know if it's showing up very well on this camera, but yeah, I went in pretty heavy actually on the Typhus. See, it's not really, it doesn't look that heavy here. So I may even get in and slap loads more on, coming out of the bottom of it specifically. You know, I wanted some real drip happening here, you know, really like change the rules here. But yeah, a little, you know, just tiny little bits. So like there on that grill where it's Typhus, and then just a little bit of rust on the edges, and then just like trying to not worry too much about everything, trying to not like be too neat about everything, about every single thing, trying to control it all, just trying to get it done. But there we go, I probably went a bit further than I should have as it was. Anyway, first piece done. See you at the table.